Hi, my name is Tolu Oluleye and you're watching Miss Nigeria TV. I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey from going to school here in Nigeria, moving abroad, and my personal projects and what I'm doing with my life currently. So as a young lady studying for WAEC and everything, one thing people taught me was that, you know what, just pass your WAEC once and just be able to go to university, and from then you can like find yourself and find what you want to do and everything. And I think that was one of the best advice I got during that time. And so I got admission into the Redeemers University here. I studied mass communications, but my dream was always to go outside the country to expand my world, right? And so I applied to schools abroad, and finally I got admission to the University of Windsor in Canada. I went on and I studied communication, media, and film. Um, my journey there at the university was very unique to me because I mean, your degree there is like very personal to however you want it to be, right? And so I studied communication, media, and film for 4.5 years there, and I graduated last year in 2017. Just to go back a little bit, I studied mass communications Redeemers for 1 year, and even when I moved abroad to study, I could see a huge difference in how things were education-wise, right? In Nigeria, you're taught to almost be theoretical in how you see things, as if what you're doing cannot come into practice, you know, except maybe it's like you're a doctor or you're an engineer or things like that. But when I went abroad to further my studies, I found out that even my first day of classes, I was behind the camera, you know, directing already. And I'm like, oh, I could put my hands down to really do what I think I know how to do, you know. And so there's a huge difference. In Canada, the education system is very hands down, more practical. I could get my hands on things that I really wanted to do. And then I went into studying advertising, marketing, and now I can use my degree to do that if I want. I could work anywhere I choose to. As someone who studied communications for 5 years of my life, I feel if you really want to go, if you really want to make the most out of it, you have to have a balance of the theoretical and the practical side of it. If you want to go into filmmaking, for example, my degree was communications, media, and film. If you really want to go into filmmaking, you can't just wait until you graduate to start pursuing that. You know, you have to make up your mind to, you know, set goals that really count. For example, if you feel you're a good filmmaker, you can start getting cameras or start a YouTube channel, start making content, start experimenting. You know, you can't just sit back and relax and, oh, just wait till when you graduate. You have to set goals that are intentional. Being abroad made my perspective wider. And I had the opportunity to do many courses that led me to finding out my passions. And one of those passions was child development and child care. And I found myself taking courses that were in that line of study. I also like cooking a lot. When I was younger, my mom would always force me to go to the kitchen and, you know, do the female thing or whatever, and I hated it. But, you know, being by myself, I discovered what my passions were, which was child development and then catering and things like that. As someone who studied communications, I would not have seen myself doing catering or childcare as one of my full-time jobs, which I do right now. But I could see how my degree would play a part in making sure I succeed. For example, in promoting my business, I have my communications background, media background, to be able to use social media to promote my business. And if I were to go full-time, want to like make this business my full-time job, I could maybe start a YouTube channel or anything and start making recipes. And Cecilia is my is my mentor in YouTube. And you have to be intentional, as I said before, about making sure that, okay, if this is where your goals are at, make sure you're doing things that are in the direction of those goals. Like for example, I mentioned I watch YouTube and CCMA and all that. That's because like it's also my passion. Media is my passion, and then cooking, and I could combine those two and make a business for myself. I've faced some challenges, and I'll say the most I've faced is being able to get supplies in terms of the kind of food. We Africans, we eat all manners of things, and you can't you can't always find those kind of things available outside Nigeria in the quantity and the quality that you get in Nigeria, right? So that's one of my biggest challenge. But like once in a while when I'm in Nigeria like this, I come and I take things back with me, and maybe it lasts for a couple months. Another challenge is maybe, especially if you're going into catering or things like that, you get really tired and really down, but you can't let that like hold you back, because I mean, who doesn't want money? Put in the best you can and just leave the rest to God. He'll make it good, right? And just put in the work. The work will show at the end of the day. It might seem as if, I mean, when I started business, it seemed as if, oh, like, are people hearing about this? Are people knowing about this? But now, after a couple months of work, I see that, oh, clients call me up and be like, oh, I heard you from this person, or I heard that, oh, you cater. Can you help me cater for this event or that event or whatnot? I once catered for a 200 people event, and I'm like, I did that. Starting from like, oh, okay, people just buy like things once in a while, but it's hard work, and you don't have to. You shouldn't give up. I mean, it can be strenuous, but like put in the work and to show at the end of the day. I'd like to say a big thank you to Miss Nigeria TV for allowing me to share my story and my journey so far.